You just articulated to me what I take to be your position.
What I was doing in a Capitol Hill Baptist church was defending the mayor, my client, against a constitutional challenge to one aspect of the COVID-19 restrictions. We understood that strict scrutiny applies.
How did that case go for you?
We lost that case.
Why?
It was found that the restrictions did not meet the standard of strict scrutiny.
Meaning they were unconstitutional?
Meaning that they did not survive strict scrutiny, and it's a matter of public record that the District of Columbia did not appeal that decision.
Why? Why were they struck down?
Excuse me, Senator?
Why were the restrictions that you defended struck down as discriminatory? Why were they?
Because they did not satisfy.
Why didn't they?
The court concluded that there were restrictions that were not neutral of general applicability.
Yeah. That's legalese. Why didn't they? Why didn't they on the facts? You know the facts. You were a good lawyer. Why'd you lose?
Senator Josh Hawley dismantles Judge Alikin's defense of her troubling record of litigating against religious liberty claims. Unlike virtually every other nominee, she admitted to arguing against religious freedom in 5 separate cases, and this hearing exposes the most controversial one in brutal detail. Watch as Senator Hawley reveals the shocking double standard Judge Alikin defended during COVID-19. Churches were prohibited from gathering outdoors with masks and social distancing. At the same time, Mayor Bowser personally attended massive protests with thousands of people packed together. The discrimination was so blatant that a federal court struck down the restrictions as unconstitutional, yet the nominee continues defending her arguments even under oath. This confrontation reveals critical questions about judicial philosophy and religious freedom. Let's dive into the main video.
Hawley?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations to all of the nominees. Judge Ali Khan, I think the last time you and I visited, it was before the Homeland Security Committee. And I asked you a number of questions there, you, including some for the record, you answered those, which I appreciated. One question that I ask you, and I ask every nominee actually on that committee and this one, is whether or not the nominee has ever litigated against a religious liberty claim. Usually the answer to that's no. In your case, you answered yes, and you listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different cases over a period of years, actually, in which you have litigated against individuals or churches' religious liberty claims. So let's just talk about a few of those, if we could. Let's start with some of your work during COVID. Case you list here, Capitol Hill Baptist Church versus Bowser. Do you remember that case?
Yes, Senator.
You remember working on that case?
Yes, Senator.
This was a case involving the district's lockdown policies that shut down churches in the district. Is that correct?
It concerned litigation over provision of the lockdown policies. The policies restricted all types of activity in the district.
All types of activity in the district?
Yes, Senator.
Did it restrict mass protests in the district?
Well, it restricted activities that one normally expected, including work, going to stores. It also did include these provisions that were challenged concerning churches.
So it exempted unusual or unlikely activities that's in the statute, that's in the ordinance?
When the mayor was enacting these orders at the outset of the pandemic, I think she was trying to be as comprehensive as she could, and the order did restrict a number of daily activities of district residents.
But it exempted mass protests?
I don't believe it said anything one way or another.
Can you point me to the text where it exempted mass protests?
I don't believe it said anything one way or another.
Of course it didn't, because it didn't exempt mass protests, right? You know that.
I think it was silent on the issue because I don't believe it was contemplated by the mayor's office.
Ah, so you think that mass protests should be in a different category than religious observances? Is that your position?
I think if there were protests on the book, then the mayor might have thought about that when she was enacting the COVID-19 restrictions. But I think she was trying to protect public health.
So you think it's fine to say to religious people that they are prohibited from gathering outside, wearing a mask, socially distanced. They can't do it. But if you want to come and protest, defund the police, if you want to support that, that's fine. You can gather en masse, person to person, close up, thousands of people. That's okay. That discrimination's okay. That is your position?
Senator, that is not my position.
It was your position. It's what you argued.
I did not write these orders. What I said.
You defended it in court. And you just articulated to me what I take to be your position.
What I was doing in a Capitol Hill Baptist church was defending the mayor, my client, against a constitutional challenge to one aspect of the COVID-19 restrictions. We understood that strict scrutiny applies.
How did that case go for you?
We lost that case.
Why?
It was found that the restrictions did not meet the standard of strict scrutiny.
Meaning they were unconstitutional?
meaning that they did not survive strict scrutiny. And it's a matter of public record that the District of Columbia did not appeal that decision.
Why? Why were they struck down?
Excuse me, Senator?
Why were the restrictions that you defended struck down as discriminatory? Why were they?
Because they did not satisfy.
Why didn't they?
The court concluded that there were restrictions that were not neutral of general applicability.
Yeah. That's legalese. Why didn't they? Why didn't they on the facts? You know the facts. You were a good lawyer. Why'd you lose?
We lost because applying the strict scrutiny test, the court concluded that the restrictions were not narrowly tailored to serve a compelling governmental interest.
Because?
Senator.
Oh, come on, Judge. Don't make me do this. Do you want me to go through it for you? You lost because Mayor Bowser was going to mass protests herself personally with thousands of people celebrating them. By the way, which is fine. We have a First Amendment in the United States. I want to be clear. That is totally fine. You want to protest? Go for it. I think that's totally fine. That wasn't the problem here. At the same time she was doing that, she was prohibiting churches, religious people, from gathering socially distanced outside wearing masks. And the district court said, you can't do that. That's discrimination. You can't separate people out based on their ideological beliefs or their positions. You can't do that, right? Isn't that what the district court said?
The district court said that
do you agree with it?
Could not survive strict scrutiny.
For those reasons, right? Why are you fighting me on this? I can't figure this out.
I am not fighting you, Senator.
So yes, you agree. That's what the district court said.
That was what the district court concluded.
Do you think they got it right? The district court get it right?
The district court, we did not appeal that decision. I think that district court decision is consistent with rulings that we got from the Supreme Court clarifying the application of the religious test to COVID-19 restrictions in Tandon and the Brooklyn Archdiocese.
My time's almost expired, and I know other senators want to ask questions, so let me just very quickly here. Do you think it's wrong to discriminate on the basis of religious faith?
Absolutely, Senator.
Why did you argue that religious services, religious people pose a greater risk of infection than people gathered to argue for defunding the police?
I was representing my client. The mayor and consulting epidemiologists had issued orders that she thought were going to protect public health. It was my role to defend those as a
Why did you make that argument? That seems like a strange argument to me, that religious people are somehow, more infectious than folks who have other ideological positions? I don't get it.
My understanding was the nature of singing and other things epidemiologists thought could transmit COVID at a higher rate.
You didn't put any scientific evidence on the record for it?
Senator, those were fast-moving cases, and they weren't going to full briefing and full summary judgment with a record.
That's not what the district court said. The district court said that you engaged in, and your client engaged in, and you defended discrimination on the basis of religious belief, that you offered no scientific evidence for it, that you pressed these arguments over and over and over without any foundation. Frankly, I'm disappointed that you made those arguments. You can choose what arguments to make. I'm disappointed you made those arguments. I'm disappointed you persisted in defending them here today. And for that reason, among others, I will not support your nomination. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Josh Hawley's interrogation of Judge Khan represents exactly the kind of rigorous oversight the American people deserve during judicial confirmation hearings. His methodical approach, backed by court records and undeniable facts, exposed a nominee whose career demonstrates a troubling hostility toward religious liberty. The evidence is irrefutable. Judge Alikan admitted to litigating against religious freedom claims in 5 separate cases, a record virtually unprecedented among judicial nominees. This isn't about isolated incidents or professional obligations. It's a pattern revealing her priorities when constitutional rights conflict with government power. The Capitol Hill Baptist Church case crystallizes everything wrong with her record. She defended restrictions that prohibited churches from gathering outdoors with masks and social distancing, while Mayor Bowser personally attended mass protests with thousands packed together. A federal court found this constitutionally indefensible discrimination, yet Judge Alikan continues justifying her arguments even under oath. Senator Hawley's questioning exposed the intellectual bankruptcy of her defense. When asked why religious people posed greater infection risks than political protesters, she offered speculation about singing without providing any scientific evidence. The district court explicitly noted this evidentiary failure. She made discriminatory arguments without factual foundation, pressed them repeatedly, and lost because they violated the First Amendment. Her excuse that she was merely representing her client rings hollow. Lawyers choose which arguments to advance and which positions to defend. Judge Alikan could have declined these cases or argued them differently. Instead, she enthusiastically defended government power over religious freedom, time after time. The senator's persistent questioning, "Why are you fighting me on this?" captured her evasiveness perfectly. Simple factual questions about why she lost the case produced legal jargon and deflection. Only when cornered did she acknowledge the court found unconstitutional discrimination, and even then, she wouldn't fully confront what that meant about her arguments. Senator Hawley's conclusion was measured and appropriate. He expressed disappointment rather than anger, focusing on her choices and their consequences. A federal judgeship requires demonstrated commitment to constitutional rights, especially the First Amendment. Someone who built part of their career arguing against religious liberty has disqualified themselves from that responsibility.